So when I say class, class, you have to say yes, ma'am. Ready? Class, class.
Yes, ma'am.
Class, class.
Yes, ma'am.
Class, class.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When I said focus, focus, you have to say focus, focus. Okay. Focus, focus.
Focus, focus.
Yes. Focus, focus.
Focus, focus.
Okay. Very good. Let us start our today's class. So having a meal thrice in a day is a regular routine, right? So, madam, please. When was the last time you noticed or you observed what is there in your plate? In a lunchtime. Okay. What did you observe in your plate?
I observed roti, sabji.
Roti, sabji. Okay. You, madam? Madam.
Brown rice.
Brown rice. Okay. Vegetables. Okay. You, Manisha, madam? What did you observe? What is there in your plate? Rice, curry or sabji. So you gave a few answers like sabji, curry, rice, roti. Why we need such a variety of food items? Why we need?
To get different nutrients.
Yes, because to get nutrients from the food to our day-to-day activities. So here, where we are getting all these food items? From plants. Okay.
From crops.
From
Crops.
crops. So here from crops or from plants where we can see the same types of the plants which we can call it as a agriculture fields. So today we are going to learn about agriculture and what are the different types of crops are there in agriculture fields. So today we are going to learn about agriculture and types of crops. The yellows that you are going to achieve from the topic are recall, define, explain, name, write, and contrast. Okay. So, what do you mean by agriculture? Do you know, children, what is the meaning of agriculture? So, let me tell you. The agriculture is a process is growing of crops and rearing livestock. Here see the agriculture activity is divided into two types. I mean two activities. The agriculture is divided into two activities. One is the growing plants and growing plants or growing crops. And the second activity is rearing livestock. So the process of growing agriculture crops, which we also call it as farming. So here the process of growing crops, growing agriculture crops, which we also call it as farming. So agriculture, another name is farming. We can grow the different types of the crops like fruits, vegetables, cereals. All are comes under the primary activity. What we call the fast growing crops, the growing agriculture crops, which comes under primary activity. And let us see that secondary activity. So the rearing livestock comes under secondary activity. What do you mean by secondary rearing livestock? Rearing livestock in the sense the animals made to which are helpful to the useful to the human beings. Like they provide us milk, they provide us dairy products, which we are using in our day-to-day life. So rearing livestock in the sense nothing but making the animals to useful to the human beings, like they're providing milk, meat, dairy products, etc. Okay, so here the agriculture activities are divided into how many categories? Two categories. So growing plants or growing crops, and the second one is rearing livestock. Children, as already we know that agriculture is the main important occupation in the world, right? On an average, 60 to 70% of the world's population is depending on the agriculture. Got it? Now let us see that what are the different types of crops are there in agriculture field. So here, when it comes to the types of crops in agriculture, mainly we have divided into two categories. How many categories? Two categories. The first one is cash crops. And the second one is food crops. What are the two categories here? Cash crops and food crops. Let us see that cash crops. What do you mean by cash crops? Cash crop is a crop which is grown for the selling in the market to get a profit. This cash crop we can grow in a large quantity and we sell into the both international and national markets for the profit. Those crops we call it as cash crops. See here you can see the examples of cash crops. See mustard seeds, coffee, cotton, tea. See coffee, cotton and tea, these three are the best example of a cash crop which is more used in our country. The clothes which we wear from the cotton, the evening which we are enjoying our coffee or tea comes under cash crops. Okay, so these are the best examples of cash crops. Now let us moving on to the food crops. What are food crops? Food crops are grown for the consumption. Which crops are grown for the consumption and also sell in only in a local markets? Those crops are, we call it as food crops. Rice, wheat, urad dal and pulses. These are the best examples of food crops. Now see the differences here. Cash crops and food crops. Cash crops can grow in a large scale and they sell for the profit and both in national and international markets. Those we call cash crops. Food crops in the sense which are grown for own consumption, we can available only in the local markets. We call it as food crops. Got it? So here, evolution. So what do you mean by agriculture? Agriculture is a process of growing crops and rearing livestock. So we have discussed about the types of crops. We have mainly divided into two categories, cash crops and food crops. Now let us go to the testing tool here. Define the term agriculture. You have to write what is the meaning of agriculture. Next, explain about rearing livestock. What is the meaning of rearing livestock? You have to write. And name the two different types of crops. What are the two different categories are there in the crops? You have to write. Write the importance of agriculture in India. So agriculture is the main occupation in our country, as already we know. Why it is important, why it is main occupation, have to write the reason. Next, write the differences between food crops and cash crops. What are the differences? You have to write contrast. So different, you have to write the differences between food crop and cash crop. Now today's your home fun is, if you get a chance to grow a crop, which type of crop you will grow? Write and come. Tomorrow we will discuss in the class. Thank you.